Oh, hi, Internets. Tonight we're talking about Tommy Wiseau. I, of course, am your host, Michael Schatz. I'm joined here by my friends Jamie Parslow, Emily Rua, and Ryan Griswold. And like I said, we will be talking about Tommy Wiseau. But first, the box office totals. Maze Runner is looking to gain about $30 million over the weekend and is the clear winner. In second place, we have Black Mass at $23 million. In third place was The Visit, garnering about $11 million. The Perfect Guy went down about 62% and is looking to gain about $9,600,000. And then, interestingly, Everest, only coming out in IMAX theaters, garnered $7.5 million, only being in 545 screens. Rounding out the top 10, we have War Room, A Walk in the Woods, Mission Impossible, Straight Outta Compton, and Grandma. Our other new movies, we had Pawn's Sacrifice, which was only on 33 screens, got about $206,000. And only on 6 screens, Sicario made $390,000, making $65,000 per screen, topping Fantastic Four's 355 screens and making $222,000.
I love the fact that Sicario, coming out in 6 theaters, almost doubled Fantastic Four in 355 theaters. Mm-hmm. That is just insane. If you want to talk about dominating the theaters that it was in, that is it.
I think that, and to add to that, when you say Fantastic Four, we were talking about how Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola were talking about it, and what they had said was that a good movie will bring the money, whether or not, it doesn't matter about star power, it doesn't matter about anything, as long as it's a great movie, people will know, and I think that's Sicario's magic in this one.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that the Visit is still up there, top 3. I liked that one.
Me too. I finally saw it. It was very good.
I have a hard time getting in on the M. Night Shyamalan train.
I believe in him.
But
Despite
it's doing phenomenally well.
Yeah.
$5 million budget. It's already made, $15 million?
In total, it's made $42 million.
$42 million. $5 million budget, $42 million gross. That is really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's clever what you can do with a little bit of money, what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
I fear what the fans may think about, or the fans of Avatar may think about it, honestly, but that's just a personal thing.
I can't defend that movie, but that's one movie. Everyone has a Jersey Girl moment.
I think the whole Sicario is an interesting model with having a very, because this was a fairly decent cast. You have Benicio del Toro, you have some Emily Blunt, you have some nice stars in it. You actually have, I heard about it, it's on TV. There's some print advertising for it, so it's well advertised. Yet it's only being released in LA and New York in 6 theaters, and so it's a very interesting,
like eking it out kind of thing.
Eking it out kind of thing. Instead of trying to blow up the opening weekends, they're more going for platform release.
And that worked for Usual Suspects. I know that's back in '95, but it worked there. We shouldn't abandon this.
I think it works for particular films, especially like
Pan's Labyrinth, I believe, did a platform release.
I would say Oscar bait. I say Oscar bait is probably the best way to do it, because you get that word of mouth buzz going out, and instead of like putting all your cards on one weekend, instead you're just kind of like, guys, this is going really well, right? Oh, we're gonna release for real later on. That's a pretty smart. It's a pretty smart move. The reverse of Fantastic Four.
Well, that's a perfect segue. So, like I said, Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau has been very vocal about how much that he would like to direct the sequel to Fantastic Four. And Fox has said, we're going to do Fantastic Four too, despite the world saying we're not asking for this. But I believe more people might be interested now that we have Tommy Wiseau.
I would support it. I 100% support it. I think that if you're going to do something bad, make it bad enough that it's good. Obviously the numbers for this first one are not good. There's no one that's going to say that was a hit.
We're sitting at 55 million. 55 million. Yeah. The budget is not listed on Box Office Mojo.
for
good reason.
Good reason. I think, honest to God, on a budget, and like if I were a producer and I were like, how can I make money back on Fantastic Four? Yeah, you put Tommy Wiseau in that. You're like, everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I'll go see that train wreck. That's fine. Totally.
The one problem is, it's like he spent $6 million on The Room. That took place in basically one room with no name actors. He wasted that. We're talking Fantastic Four. He is not going to do well with that money. He's just going to blow it.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about coming from a studio standpoint. He's going to literally just blow the money in the worst ways possible. So we're not even talking about like, oh, they're going to make a movie and it'll be small budget and they'll get lots of people watching it. We're talking about a movie. If he gets Fantastic Four, he's probably going to spend $100 million, just completely blow the money on lotto tickets or whatever, and then they're not going to get $100 million back. Yeah, they're going to have a cult following. That cult following maybe will bring $50 million, but they're not going to get $100 million plus advertising back.
Yeah, but that's why you have producers there watching, and sometimes there's a collaboration. Sometimes you have to bring certain people in.
Right. Josh Trank would
Trank.
I'm so bad at this game. No, he would sit in his house sometimes and just not show up to set because he just didn't want to deal with the producers and was blowing the budget. And I think that if you do the same thing with Tommy Wiseau, you're gonna get the same results. But more fun.
It would be so much more fun. That's the thing. It's like they'd be taking it seriously, but you know that you don't have to take it seriously. They're like, oh, hi, Invisible Woman.
I like the idea of making a cult movie out of the sequel. It's just cult movies are not going to bring in the mass audience. Cult movies always bring in the cult followers. So you cannot have someone that is going to blow that kind of money on a cult movie. You need someone that can actually handle a budget
in the short run.
and actually make money in the short run.
Yeah, but in the long run, you're going to get money.
Rocky Horror Picture?
Yeah, look at that. That's still going.
Did not
even
spend
the room.
$100 million.
But even the room is still
Don't give him $100 million. Give him $55 million because it's still going to take place in one room. which, if you see Fantastic Four, is pretty much what happens. The first act is in it's like a high school gym, and then eventually they get to the lab. Then they get their powers in the CG sequence, which he likes using green screen for rooftops, so it kind of works. Then there's no second act. There's no real training session like, how do I use my powers now? And then the entire end happens again in the same Area 51 base. It's perfect with so. You give him $55 million, tell him, just like the first movie, keep it all in the Area 51 lab, and have a conversation between Human Torch and the Thing, like, oh, hi, Rockman. And then the Thing's like, you're tearing me apart, Kmara.
Small plug. All the actors from The Room to go to The Room are doing a small web series. I was supposed to work on it, and then I got way swamped with work, but they ended up finding another assistant director. And they are currently doing a web series pilot on The Room, or like the kind of like where are they now kind of situation on
there's
Room.
The Disaster Artist, which Ryan was telling me about. James Franco will be playing Tommy Wiseau in The Disaster Artist.
Seth Rogen's producing it.
Wow.
And James Franco's directing it too.
James was supposed to be on that web series, and he said no. So there were probably reasons. The guy that played Mark, I can't remember.
Greg Sestero.
Greg. He has non-compete, so he can't deal with anything outside of that world.
Speaking of Greg, Dave Franco's actually going to be playing Greg Sestero.
I'm excited.
So excited. It's going to be really good.
I'm like the biggest fan. I played Mark in like a live Rocky Horror stage show kind of thing. It was so much fun.
You got the beard.
And then how do you shave it? That's the problem. Anyway, but yeah, no. As far as that's concerned, Tommy. Obviously, we know that Tommy being a part of Fantastic Four is a terrible idea, but it's also
in the best way.
But in the best way, it's exactly it. But for two, it's like can two negatives make a positive though? Like in that scenario.
I believe in it.
It's the last time that a studio has tried that bold move of making a cult film, like out of a big budget thing. I don't think that it's really happened.
I can't think of
It's so risky they wouldn't do it.
That's the issue. It's like I would watch that movie, but it is so risky with that money.
Here'd be my argument for it though. If you're dedicated to making Fantastic Four 2, the Tommy Wiseau version is guaranteed to make more money than anything else you try to do at this point. So, at least I think so.
Yeah. It's opinion.
But it would have longevity. If it becomes a cult film, which I think it could, longevity really helps.
Let's play devil's advocate on this one though. we don't want to ruin the fans' experience. Anybody who actually does love Fantastic Four.
Watch the one with
But
Chris
where are they?
Evans.
They're not out for this movie. I mean, obviously,
That's true.
this
They
one
didn't
wasn't
care.
there.
This one was a train wreck.
They exist. I like the ones that came out in the early 2000s.
I'm just looking out for the fans in this one. You want to make something. They want something good, and just either give it to Marvel, who they do a fine job.
Yep.
Or just sit on it, or whatever. Don't make it. I don't care. Just stop
The
making.
problem is that they sit on it for 5 years, they lose it to Marvel automatically.
Good. There's no problem with that.
The solutions all around.
They lost money on that bet. What an awful idea that was.
They should have just sat on it and let it last the
They
rights.
really, absolutely should. Well, whatever.
At this point, they're losing a lot of money on this.
That's and the same with X-Men when that comes out. We'll see how that goes.
The last
With
X-Men have
Ivan
been
Ooze?
really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed First Class and
Oh, me too.
First Class was great.
We're just saying the costume for Apocalypse looks more like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
The cosplayers make better costumes with this character. Well, join us Wednesday where we will be talking about Jason Statham moving into television.